Welcome everybody to what is our third Let's Chat session. Please watch them. They are gaining in momentum and we are certainly having some fun on the sofa. If you would like to be on the sofa with me and just telling everybody about what you do and celebrating successes, please do get in touch. We've had a very eventful term. We've had 4 Ofsteds this term, we've had the SATs this term, and we've also had a really important visitor, Dame Kate Dethridge, who is our regional director for the South East. She works directly to the government, and it was really important that she sees what our strategies do and the impact they have on our children and our adults. So our focus for that was early years and special needs, and she had a really insightful visit. So my first guest on the sofa today is Kimberly Kemp. Kim has been in the Trust since the very beginning as head of inclusive education. And I'm particularly excited about the work that Kim's doing. Special education needs is really close to my heart, and I really want to make a difference to the children in our trust that are the most vulnerable. So, Kim, just tell us a bit about your journey so far.
Okay, thank you. I mean, as you said, I've been had the honour of being with the Trust right from the start, and I've watched it grow and seen the importance of that vision. And our vision always, from the day I can remember, has always been about the heart for children, everyone achieving their absolute best. And that is regardless of their needs, their barriers. We absolutely have always had that passion that every child deserves the very best.
Absolutely.
So we know that there's been some real national challenges within SEND. And we really consciously, didn't we, made that decision of we can either kind of go down that route of, oh, this is a challenge, or we could embrace it and say, okay, there are things out of our power, but then there are real key things which are totally things that we can make a difference. And that was why, you know, you and I, we kind of said, okay, let's really see what expertise have we got within the Trust, all our SENCOs, our heads, and let's decide and go on this journey together.
So we brought them all together, and then what's been that growth since?
The SENCOs have really valued talking and sharing expertise and thoughts, because, you know, as a SENCO, we are dealing with children who can experience quite significant difficulties in families. So sharing those ideas and thoughts of how can we best move things forward, how can we work together, is really important. But we also wanted to have a strategic approach, as in, this is what we expect for all of our schools across the board. So together, with all the SENCOs and heads' involvement as well, we devised a strategy, a SEND strategy, which is very clear, as in what we want for every single child across the Trust. So yes, SEND, but also we want this for all our children. So our strapline is every child championed. And that is at the heart of everything, because we want every single child to achieve the best and for everyone to have their back. You know, that's one of our jobs, isn't it? The SENCO, to have their back and go, actually, I think we can do more for this child.
And I think also then the what we've done is upskilling those individuals as well, haven't we? Because sometimes there are children that maybe we haven't had to deal with in the past.
Definitely.
So, and I think you've brought in local players as well. So Zoe from Slated Rose, she's been fundamental. We've brought in the local authority, have been a key partner.
Absolutely.
So strategically, we've brought in people at the right time who can help us on the next bit, can't we?
Absolutely. And you know, as you mentioned, Zoe from Slater, we also got Fairfield Special School. And they've been part of that journey with us, helping us to understand and develop. So they've provided training for SENCOs, training for head teachers, so that we understand how we can meet children with more complex needs. We're also doing that collaboration of shared expertise. And that's one of the things where it's led to our Blossom Blossom curriculum, which I believe Grace Leach will be talking to you in more detail about. But, we noticed that, White House were doing something really, really special. And that's how we all then come together to share that expertise and develop.
And grew that. So to sum it up then, where are we going next with this?
Well, I think one of the key things we're moving very much towards, and I meet with other trust leaders for inclusion. So what we've been working on is that, yes, we've got this real clear strategy for SEND, but actually these children don't come just with one area of need. We know we're all complex beings and we're bringing a range of experiences. So these children aren't just on the SEND register. We've also got other things we need to be considering. So we're very much moving towards that inclusive look, and actually children as a whole. Absolutely.
There are no barriers to this.
Absolutely.
So we're going to make sure every child accesses and be the best version of themselves. And that's our job. But keep up the good work. It's been amazing what you've done so far. And I look forward to the next stage.
Thank you. And I really enjoy it. It's a brilliant area to work with. So thank you very much.
So my next guest is Grace. We're carrying on with the SEND theme. I think it's really important for us to show what we do as a trust. Grace, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and your journey? Why are you sat on my sofa?
Well, I feel very lucky to be sat on your sofa.
That's not what everybody says.
Well, I feel that I have had a really great journey from 2018, starting working for IFTL at White House as a HLTA. I was very fortunate. Linda Kelly, the head teacher, she could see that I was very passionate of working with children with additional needs, and she's allowed me to flourish within the role. So initially was a HLTA, and then came and did the ITT course to get my student teacher status, and now a qualified teacher. I worked for a year doing a year 4 class, and so learning what it's like to be within a mainstream classroom and managing a very complex set of children, including a child who had the developmental age of an 18-month-year-old. And actually the challenge of that, and knowing that maybe I wasn't always offering him exactly what he needed because I didn't understand his developmental stage, meant that I was having conversation with Linda of what could we do next, and how could we change this offer to be something that would be really personal to him. And we had a group of children at White House who all sat within the same position. So we looked together and said, actually, if we brought them together, could we offer them something that would give them a sense of belonging, a sense of, I can do this and I can achieve, even if this is my starting point.
And just before that, you wanted a building built as well, didn't you?
Yes, well, it started in shared areas.
Right,
and we wanted the building, but we knew we had to start it in the September. So we set up 2 pods within the shared areas, which was effective. We saw the benefit of bringing these children together. They started to play, they started to learn how to, take risks, how to engage, how to not just be with a teaching assistant who is managing all the different bits and pieces. And then we had the building within the May, and that was all set up, and we knew our why from the get-go.
I was going to say, when you had that vision and you knew your why, you started small, but actually then could scale it when you had the environment, I guess.
Yes, the environment made a huge difference, because we could have a communication-rich environment, but that was tailored to our children's needs. And the children's needs are different across our provision now. We have 2 sides. We have seedlings and acorns. When we figured out the why, it allowed us then to question, well, what is our what and how? And that's where the Blossom curriculum was born.
And just tell me a little bit about, because one of the things I know with our Ofsteds that we're having now as a trust and individual schools, that has made such a significant difference. Why were people struggling so much, do you think, with the national curriculum that meant you had to take it right back?
So we initially were looking at birth to 5, so the early years framework for these children, and being questioned on, well, you've got a child in year 5 who's still accessing birth to 5. That's not appropriate. They should have opportunities for subject-specific learning where possible. So we looked at each area, each subject within the national curriculum and tried to track it back as far as 8 months of age to see, okay, so if the other children are learning, for example, number and place value within the classroom, what would that look like for a child who's developmentally at 8 months?
One of the things that we've been talking about is with Glebe Farm, that all through curriculum from early years right the way through. And we've actually now created the curriculum that is pre that.
Yes.
And will impact on our early years development as well, won't it?
I made a connection with Wood Newton because I'm really fortunate that I get to go out and see the different provisions. And Wood Newton have a 2-year-old provision. And to connect with the lead there, she was so excited to understand that we're looking further back now because she has children who come in and are developmentally not that of a 2-year-old. So she now has that almost the starting point. So we know that we celebrate them from their starting point and we can champion them the whole way through rather than having conversations about, oh, this is the deficit.
You mentioned Wood Newton, and that's one of our Corby schools.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about how that collaboration was. Kim's told us a little bit about how we pool our resource and support each other in that isolated role. But has it made a difference to you that there's 19 other Senkos?
Definitely. We collaborate together at the Senko days. So we all come together and have the conversations about where we want to be going next. And the idea was born from 8 children to now know that we potentially have 150 children across our whole trust.
Yeah.
We have to ensure that our offer can be diversified for all. So having these conversations of, okay, what are the challenges? And often they're around environment. Can we offer what these children need to be able to let them flourish? So it's challenged my thinking as well, because being able to go out into these different trust schools and be posed with, okay, we know this child is great at this. How could we really immerse them in that to allow them to flourish in different areas? It's worked really well.
So thank you so much. Keep up the good work. And I think next time, we were just chatting a bit earlier, should we have some of your children on the sofa? We might need to practice that a few times, but I think that is a thing that will excite us the most when we see the impact of the work you're doing. And it's huge. Thank you so much, Grace. So my next guest on the sofa is Chelsea. Chelsea works in HR, but I will give you the privilege of introducing yourself. So what do you do and who are you, Chelsea?
So I started at IFTL, Inspiring Futures to Learning, in 2022 in March. So I first started as an HR administrator and recently been promoted to senior HR operations administrator. So it's been a lot of progress along the way, a lot of support, diving in and out of schools and just supporting within HR, learning as I'm going as well.
Did you come in as a temp?
I did, yes.
You came in as a temp, so you were going to be here for a couple of weeks and then...
Yes, so I did come in as a temporary person, just helping where needed, and I saw what Amelia was doing within the HR, got a huge interest within that, and had an interview, got the job, and I was happy to learn and grow. Amelia's taught me everything that I know so far, and I've also grown myself.
Our values, our culture is all about, yes, it's real high expectations for our children, but also looking after each other.
Yes.
And that was one of our values. Together, we can't achieve because we've got the support of all these expertise.
And that's what I love the most. And I think the value that I love the most, yes, I follow all the values, but the togetherness, that's what attracted me to the role, is that we dive into schools, we support. If they are struggling with a certain task, we'll dive in and we'll say, okay, I can help you in this area so you can cover here. And so it's just, I think that's what I fell in love with the most, is that we're not just there to do our job, we're also there to help.
So do you like going in and out of schools then?
I do enjoy it, yes. it is nice to have a quiet admin day in the office every now and then, but I do enjoy being in that atmosphere, seeing what's going on in the education sector. So.
Yeah. And feeling the pain sometimes, because
Yes.
day to day, when you're in a quiet office, it's a very different ball game to being in a school. What's your career path going to be looking like?
So we have had discussions on progression, but I definitely do want to progress within IFTL. I see a very bright future within IFTL ever since I've started, and I've only seen growth ever since. So with my promotion recently given to me with senior HR operations, I do want to progress, get my level 5 within HR.
I always believe in the saying, go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you see the next bit. So you're on a really good journey. And also, Chelsea got engaged recently, so
Yes,
there will
I
be
did.
a big wedding coming up as well. So
Yes.
congratulations on that.
Yes, I did. So thank you so much. Yes, it was quite a surprise, but yes.
And you
I'm
said
super
yes. That's
excited.
the good thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Said yes.
Okay. Thanks, Chelsea.
Yes.
Thank you. So my next guest, I feel actually quite nervous about interviewing you, Pilly, because Pilly is usually behind the camera. She has spent the morning making sure everybody's ready for the set and brushing people's hair and doing all those things. And now she's in front of the camera. And I don't know, how are you going to be reacting this side?
Oh, goodness. It's quite frightening actually sitting in front of the camera. But yeah, let's do it.
Tell us about your journey in IFTL first and foremost and what you do.
So I am Pilly Jones, Marketing Manager for IFTL. I've been with IFTL now for 2.5 years. I started in December 2022 as a marketing support. I have now progressed in my career as well as a marketing manager. And basically my work in IFTL is just to amplify the voices of our colleagues and to kind of make sure that we are aligning with our values. My journey really is just making sure that when people see IFTL, they can recognize it.
How do you cope with so much activity though?
What has helped is having development groups. So within schools, there are people who are already doing the jobs. So we collaborate, which is a major thing in IFTL. We always collaborate. I meet with them, we get together and we gather all the information. And when we put social media, we love social media. We use social media all the time. And when we do post, we make sure that we tag along all the other schools. We make sure that we amplify everybody. So how we get to do, how I cannot do it by myself. I cannot physically be in 20 schools at once. So I get everybody in schools to kind of put together all the stuff that we need, send through stuff centrally, and then we just communicate widely.
What's your biggest challenge then in your role?
Honestly speaking, marketing is not always seen as that one massive thing in education. And it's not just an IFTL thing. I think it's an education thing. And the biggest challenge is human resources. The people that I work with are stretched. You'll find that it's a teacher doing a little bit of social media. It's a teacher doing a little bit of website updates. So there's not always one person doing that role. So that can be a challenge because when you need the people for stuff, they are doing other things. And sometimes the most important thing that comes first is teaching. So if a teacher has got a teaching job, only after the children have gone home do they get a little bit of time to do the marketing. So eventually it'll be something that we can possibly look into in education, that we kind of make it a role that is a standalone role in schools. But
It's
probably
fundamental.
It is.
isn't
It is because without the children, without the amplifying of what your school does, as a parent looking on the outside, I don't know what your school is like until you tell me.
It's a window, isn't it?
Yes.
A window in. So what's your big vision?
My
Because
big
I'm sure
vision
you've got one.
is to continue just doing what we do and to make sure that everybody within IFTL feels supported. So if I can have a marketing department that can take on all the schools and do everything for them centrally, that would be amazing. That's my vision. But outside of IFTL, actually, I also, in June, we're coming up to June, we're going to have Volunteers Week. So there are a few activities that I'm excited about within IFTL. We're going to be appreciating our volunteers and we're going to have an appreciation evening. And within our IFTL, organization, we have people volunteering in IFTL and outside of IFTL.
Yeah,
so we're going to be
absolutely.
appreciating our trustees, our governors, but also our colleagues volunteering in our communities. In July, we're going to have a celebration of Corby schools, celebrating 5 years in IFTL. It's been 5 years since Corby schools have joined IFTL, and that deserves a celebration. So we're going to have a morning where we celebrate with all the dignitaries and everyone in Corby, and I'm excited about that.
Brilliant. Well, keep up the good work. You absolutely, the value fun is absolutely just oozes out of you. And you know, if there is ever a dowdy day and we come into work, Pilly's the person that cheers everybody up. So, you know, we wouldn't be without you. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
And finally, the most important guests of today's Let's Chat are my two colleagues and senior leaders of the organisation, our Fairfields representatives for the Youth Parliament. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Rayan, I'm in Year 5, and I'm going to talk about the solar panels and Switch Off Friday.
I'm Abby, and I'm in Year 6, and I'm going to talk about the bin system.
Brilliant. And you tell me, first of all, though, Abby, you've had quite a stressful week, haven't you? And what have you been up to?
I've been doing my SATs, and I've been, building up since Year 3.
How hard were the papers? Were they okay?
It was quite easy, to be honest. I found spelling a tiny bit tricky, but the rest were actually pretty easy.
There were some tricky words in that spelling paper, weren't there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're here to do today is to talk about what we've been up to in Youth Parliament. And at every Let's Chat, we've been having different representatives from each school. So do you want to start then? One of our big pushes is about sustainability. Yeah, and we've done all the LED lighting across the trust. We're now doing solar panels. What are you going to tell us about today?
So, since we've had solar panels fitted, we've been saving a lot of electricity, and which is helping our school. And also, we've had 2 Switch Off Fridays during the holidays, which makes sure that we don't waste any electricity while no one's at school.
Because we found an interesting fact, didn't we?
Yeah.
We use more electricity sometimes when there's no people in the school.
Yeah, because it just spiked up, I remember.
Yeah, do you remember? It spiked up, and sometimes, and Glebe Farm spiked at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we had to unpack that problem. Okay, so and we're finding out what the results are of that Switch Off Friday, aren't we?
Yeah.
But we definitely made a difference. Mr. Smith in our online meeting next week is going to feed back to us.
Okay.
And what about you, Abby?
So, in Fairfield, we have improved the bin system, and we've gotten bigger bins because before we got the bins, I remember the trash and stuff, they were all flowing out, and it's not good for the environment.
The other thing we've also been talking about at Youth Parliament is our trust, our family of schools. Were you telling me earlier about what we've done as a trust that has made a difference to the environment as well?
As now we have iPads, so
Yeah.
it's more eco-friendly because we're not just going through papers so quickly, and it's also making a big improvement because before we had to write everything and it took a lot longer, but now it's also made learning a lot more fun.
Has it? Is there anything in particular you can think of that you've enjoyed doing on your iPads?
I enjoy typing because before I wasn't really good at it, but now I'm better, and also now we can actually follow along with when the teachers are teaching because they upload the slides. So if we don't understand something, we can just go back to it later and see what we didn't understand and go over it.
Finally then, and this is the test that we talk about our school values and our trust values. Can you remember what our trust values are? I think this is our 3rd test with Youth Parliament and we've passed so far, so it's down to you.
The word that is futures, and F stands for fun.
Right, fun. Can you remember the next one?
Unique,
Together,
unafraid,
responsible,
energetic.
safe.
Safe. Well done. Thank you, guys. We've got 2 more meetings this year. We've got an online next week, and then we've got all together the final week. And can you remember how you felt that first meeting where you were coming all together with people that you didn't know from all different schools? How did you feel?
I felt really nervous at first because I didn't know how it was going going to go, and there was going to be people from a lot of other schools, and well, I didn't know the exact age. And it's just, I was.
What's it like now?
Well, now I see the people like a lot more, and now I'm getting used to them, and it's like we all are together. And
We're all together and we all feel safe. And then you carry on, so you'll be able to help. You'll be year 6 next year, so you'll be able to help the year 5 person get involved.
Yeah.
Well done. I've really enjoyed talking to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.